Okay, so this video is going to be a lot more serious than any of the other content I've made on this channel, so fair warning, it's not going to be nearly as lighthearted. And I'd also urge you, if you have a Microsoft account, to stick around because this could have some serious ramifications. So earlier today, AO3 was hit with a takedown. Visiting the site results in an error code of 503, which basically means that the server can't host or respond to what you're trying to ask it of it. In short, the servers are down. Sorry that my appearance here is so brief right now, but I'm going to pass it over to my friend Vizzle Ray, who's going to tell you more about the situation regarding AO3, what happened, and the surrounding events of it.
Hi there, this is Vizzle Ray. So, this morning I was on a call with Kalos, just, chilling out, doing the things that friends do. And I went to go and check the stats on one of my works on Archive of Our Own, the website that hosts fanfiction, and I noticed it was down, and so I looked into it, and what we discovered was pretty shocking, actually. So AO3 is basically a platform created under the Organization for Transformative Works to host written works made by fans. It basically encourages people of all ages and all people of all different origins to come together to make pieces of fan work inspired by existing pieces of media. This website and this entire organization is completely crowdfunded and volunteer ran. It is not for profit, and it hosts countless amounts of fan fiction that authors share without expecting anything in return. Many of people slave over these for hours on end. I know I have. So at around 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on July 10th, the down detector began receiving reports of AO3's website being down. The number of reports began jumping as more and more people were unable to access their beloved fan fictions. The Twitter page for AO3 became active to give live updates on the situation, and it wasn't clear at first what was going on. A lot of people in the comments made a lot of memes to joke about it, which usually happens. Maybe people were flooding the Bob Ross videos again, because that always happens when AO3 is down. Later on throughout the day, AO3 eventually announced that they figured out it was a DDoS attack, and after doing a lot of digging, I found a Twitter account dedicated to reporting cyber attacks. It's called Falcon Freed CO, and they revealed that it was actually an organization named Anonymous Sudan. And okay. So after having recorded all of that, I was just made aware that AO3 status, the Twitter page for updating the status of AO3's website, they acknowledged the attack and the source of the attack. The tweet reads, "A group presenting themselves as a collective of religiously and politically motivated hackers has claimed responsibility for the attack. Experts do not believe they are honest about their motivations, so we urge caution in believing any reasoning they provide for targeting AO3. This will be specified more in Kalos's part. So once again, I'm going to pass it off to him.
So you might be wondering who Anonymous Sudan is, and don't worry, I was too. They're an organization based in Africa, reportedly, whose profile picture looks like something you'd see on somebody yelling at you in CSGO that they're gonna hack you just because you game-ended them, which is dedicated to making cyber attacks on organizations throughout the world, but mostly ones based in America. Apparently, this is on behalf of oppressed Muslims, in their own words. Their general reasoning for attacking is vague, but as discussed just prior, they might not even be factual in what they've said. But basically, the reasoning they've given for a lot of these cyber attacks is based heavily in religious belief, specifically surrounding the Muslim religion. Their vendetta against America then can be explained away with some historical events, and if you're not familiar with American history or just didn't pay attention in history class, the long and the short of it is, a while ago, Islamic countries, I believe, take everything I say with a grain of salt. I didn't have too much time to refresh myself on my history class. Had invaded cities in Israel is something, to overthrow oppressive leaders. This kind of worked, but the oppressive leaders' ideas were still existent, so they formed into this congregation that ultimately resulted in the creation of Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is a terrorist group that was led by Osama bin Laden, a familiar name, I'm sure, and as an act of revenge against America, they committed several terrorist attacks against America, such as the first attempted bombing of the World Trade Center in February 26th of 1993, and of course the international airline hijacking of September 11th, 2001. Interestingly though, in response to the terrorist attacks, America did issue a war on terrorism where they hunted down and targeted Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden to put a stop to their stuff, but within America, protected those who were of the Muslim religion from any hateful attacks or stuff of the sort. Of course, this didn't stop, stigma from spreading, as it usually doesn't, but there was a genuine attempt put forward, which kind of pokes some holes in the, motivations here, but from what I can gather, they're specifically still on that and are kind of functioning as a sort of cyber terrorist group striking back at America after they struck back. Kind of reminds me of when you like think of a comeback a day after the argument happened. Now, this information is kind of supported by their reasoning for the attack on AO3. The first reasoning they give is because the company that owns AO3, Organization for Transformative Works, or OTW, is based in America, which obviously falls under the demographic of attacks, but also contains content that they label degenerate. Content including LGBT, NSFW, and anything within that general vicinity. So essentially anything illegal to teach in Texas. But these guys aren't just some like small-time hacker, like, gotcha type deal. These guys are actual menaces. We're talking like supervillain tier guys. They've had several organizations in France open up an investigation on them. They managed to attack Sweden they managed to attack some of the major banks and news publications in Sweden, among other things, following an incident where a prominent figure in the far right community over there burned the Quran. Not gonna touch that one. Moving on. They've extensively harassed Microsoft, which this is where the warning comes into play, including taking down OneDrive, Bing, some of their other services, but most importantly, they stole information such as usernames, passwords, personal information from over 30 million Microsoft accounts, and are going to be putting it up for sale for about $50,000 in Bitcoin. You see, this is what happens when you leave cryptocurrency and stuff like unregulated for so long. Now obviously, that's really concerning, and I'd urge you to take as many pre-measures as you can, update your accounts, update their information, and reinforce your security as much as you can, because whether or not this is true, that's still a good practice to take up, but why chance it? I mean, you remember the big Facebook leak of like 2020 or whatever it was? That was very much not fun, and if something like that could happen for a very large company such as Microsoft. Keep in mind, the following are Microsoft products: Xbox, Windows, OneDrive, Bing. Microsoft has a lot of stock in several different gaming development companies. Minecraft. Yeah, okay, now I've got your attention. Any and all of those could be affected, because 30 million. Not a small number. And beyond that, they've also attacked Tumblr, Flickr, ChatGPT apparently, though that one was just a test hack still. Even Reddit apparently. They even took down a specific Twitter plus account, whatever that means, for posting anti-Muslim content. But the carnage doesn't stop there. They've proven themselves very capable of taking down major banks in a lot of smaller countries, have taken down news publications, and we're not just talking like small-time news publications, like the top news publications in certain countries, as previously mentioned with Sweden. They've even managed to get into motherfucking UPS, which, for those of you who don't know, is one of, if not the largest delivery service in America. And the list goes on. I didn't necessarily feel like spending too terribly long going through all of these. I do urge you, however, to bother some YouTubers that you think would be ripe for discussing this situation. Getting the word out there is very important on situations like this. Getting everybody aware, it really can only be helpful. Might be putting myself at risk for posting this video, but hopefully if we get the echo chamber going, my image will be diluted a little bit. I'm assuming it would also be interesting to know that this was posted while I was editing. I'm not going to read it out because it's basically just a bunch of ego trip and being a general asshole, and of course, lovely xenophobia. You can pause it and read it if you want. I just wanted to showcase that they're still being little bitches about this, and they're getting increasingly petty by the second, showing that they're not the most professional of organizations. As of now, that's all of the current developments, so we'll hopefully be getting back to you as the situation develops. Hopefully spread this around. As I said, share this video, share the story, share any of the information. I'll put some links in the description down below for some of the sources we have, and that's going to do it for this video. See ya. And stay safe.